Okay, before we get into the video, I do need to start this one with an apology. Last episode, when discussing F1 merch, I described it as having nosedive like Flight 11, and yeah, that was completely wrong. It was the wrong thing to say, and I was rightfully called out on it. So yeah, I'm very, very sorry for that. It was actually Flight 93 that nosedived, so thank you to all those who pointed that one out. Anyway, on to the video.
That's rude.
Hey there guys, I'm Will and welcome to the Comedy Review, the show where the FIA give me free crap to report on. This week they apparently want to ban Team Radio, so can someone please ban this man's life support? Today though, if you haven't already realised, is a very different comedy review, as yesterday evening we got F1 75 live, all 10 teams revealing their 2025 liveries on the same night, though you probably already knew that since F1 wouldn't shut the f**k up about that bit. I was very lucky to be able to attend the event in person, so before we begin, a huge thank you to Formula 1 and the O2 Arena for making me sit in the queue for 2 hours whilst bots snapped up all the actual tickets. I wasn't going to miss this one however, so I jumped straight on the resales, thankfully before they started going for stupid money. I got a ticket though, and I could finally relax. Then F1 dropped this bombshell literally 5 minutes later. Not to be deterred though, I thought I may as well give this one a shot. So I started filming some trains like a fucking weirdo, eventually hopped onto one, and then headed over to the O2 to see what I could find. We were treated to some F1 content straight away, Aston Martin having taken over North Greenwich Station, making sure our standards were set as low as they possibly could. It seems the trend for 2025 is for teams to come up with these irrelevant new slogans for the year ahead. Aston were quick to show off their rendition, "Feel the Unseen." I'm assuming that must relate to Lance Stroll's talent. Having found my first Formula 1 car, surrounded by a group of 40-year-old men having a collective wank, I had to wander around the local area and somehow managed to get lost. That did mean I stumbled upon an older Formula 1 car, which I think is an old Senna Tolman, though if I'm wrong, you can boost my engagement down in the comment section below. This was guarding the entrance to whatever this is. All I could tell is they were sending pictures of a melted Daniel Ricciardo. Anyway, having unlost myself, I decided to finally walk up towards the arena, which was lined with a selection of decapitated drivers' heads, with the general public's British bias also on full display.
I'm not taking pictures at answer.
The O2 awaited then, and after being distracted by F1's new anti-swearing ambassador and another reference to Lance Stroll's pace, I got through the first line of security and made it inside. There were some big posters here, another F1 car, and another reminder that it was Valentine's last week, just in case I wanted to go to the roof of the O2 and proceed to throw myself off of it. But then I ran into a problem. I couldn't get to the roof of the O2, and I'd also travelled around the entire arena before realising I'd done everything there was to do, and the event was still 4 hours away. That gave me plenty of time to get some more B-roll footage. This was going to be a cracking panning shot before I realised I was filming the play area for McLaren fans, and I just looked like a fucking nonce. So after crying over some Danny Rick merch and trying one of Sweary McSwearface's burgers, it was finally time to get in, and pray no one mentioned my resale tickets, or my camera, which turned out was also meant to be banned. Be nice to security though guys, and having done some expert level flirting with the man on the door, I was let in no problem. And being so early, I was officially one of the first to be allowed into the event, only to realise it was another hour before we could actually sit down, and I should instead wander around this holding area conveniently lined with expensive bars. It's almost as if that was planned. Meanwhile, all the teams and drivers were arriving at the red carpet, Yuki Tsunoda showing off why you shouldn't attempt a donut when you can hardly see over the dash, and the Alpine drivers rocking up in... Honestly, they would have been cooler if they pulled up in one of these. Eventually though, we were back on our way, and having gone past Lance Stroll's dressing room, we got into the main arena, and holy shit, this was cool. I get people have come here to watch me tear this event to shreds, and don't worry, we'll get to that, but as an actual spectator, this was unbelievable, and hats off to whoever organised this, they've knocked it out of the park. The view itself was amazing, and as it turns out, the reason why it was so amazing was because I managed to stumble into the section specifically reserved for guests of Williams. Whoever put this likely free ticket onto Viagogo then, you're a clever little bastard, I'll give you that. Can't say I'm complaining though. It was time for the show to kick off then, with F1 hiring certified posh Jack Whitehall to host the event, whose opening introduction managed to make the comedy review look about as funny as a documentary on the Holocaust. To sum this up, Whitehall immediately called out Max Verstappen, called George Russell autistic, compared Lewis Hamilton to a Fortnite character, and sucked off James Vowles, all in the monologue that I'm sure made anyone already screaming British bias to have a brain aneurysm. And with that, it was quickly over to the team reveals, and for a bit of fun, let's rate these for the livery itself and their little performance that went along with it, some of which were much better than others. Kicking us off were Kick Sauber, who were very keen for us to look to the future, probably as the past has been pretty for them recently. We got some people hitting some drums with these big neon dildos before a final reveal of the car, and holy shit, this is awful. Right, before people start tearing my ass a new one, the renders, fantastic. Honestly, this looks incredible, but it's like going on a Tinder date with someone who's a solid 9 out of 10 on their profile, and then when they rock up, you find yourself sat across from the fucking Gruffalo. This car in the flesh looks like it's thrown up over itself, and I'm not even going to start on that attempt to matte a carbon gradient. Generally one of the worst liveries of the night. The performance, I mean, it was as basic as they come, so we'll give it a 5 out of 10. After some awkward Whitehall flirting, Williams were the next team to reveal their 2025 colours. They gave us a nice reminder about a time when they weren't a glorified meme before cutting to the chase and showing off a car that is, well, it's growing on me, let's put it that way. From where I was sitting, it was kind of hard to get a feel for this one, though while I think it would look much better if they just stuck with the darker shade of blue all round, I can't say I hate it. The show, meanwhile, got straight to the point, gave us some interviews, then an awful video selfie where Alex Albon actively tries to run away from his team boss. Pretty entertaining. Now over to V-Carb to it all up. The outfit have a new name once again, now Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, the team hiring this Munya guy to terrorise the British public to ensure they all knew about it.
Oh, look, Lewis Hamilton. Shoo! Man's in a Ferrari and that.
Now at the event, I actually kind of enjoyed this. I'd also had quite a lot of wine. Now, sat at home, this was like watching a KSI video from 2014. We were treated to the best of the British public, stripping grannies, and a bunch of people who weren't totally hired by the team whatsoever.
Is Yuki Tsunoda the best driver?
Yes.
Correct answer. I will sign for you.
I firmly believe that V-Cup has something worth watching.
I'm actually really excited to see what the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls have got up the sleeve.
No, you don't, you stupid thumb. But after 4 whole minutes of this that I can sadly no longer get back, it was time to unveil V-Carb's 2025 look, and oh, I need a minute. Best livery of the night, hands down. V-Carb had just won the evening, and then they managed to lose it again. We got the 280-second joke about Yuki's height. Isaac Hadjar said he was hard, told us all to f*** off, and then this happened.
And make some noise if you're gonna like. Make some noise if you're gonna like the photo tonight. No one. Okay, I'll like the photo. Don't worry, it's all good.
Winners with the livery. Events, yeah, the runway was in sight. You were all lined up, and then you hit the World Trade Center. With the first set of cars now revealed, it was time for a musical interlude, and half of the stadium to f*** off for another drink. Performing across the evening with these guys, who I've never heard of, this country guy, who I've never heard of, and Take That, who I have heard of because I'm not that much of an uncultured swine. After that were Haas, and when you start like this, you just know you're in for a rough ride with this one. With Cadillac entering the fray next season, Haas were big on the message that they were America's team coming into this one, and in true American fashion, they would go big and then cock it up royally. Firstly, we all knew what this car was going to look like after it leaked on Twitter over the weekend. Then for anyone who missed that, the team cocked their timings up and leaked their own car too early anyway, and we've not even got to their actual launch yet. This was designed to be a trip through the last 10 years of the Haas Formula 1 team, though instead played out a little more like a crash compilation you'd expect to find on F1 TikTok. They even got the car to do the Mazepin live on stage. Moral of the story, don't go around flaunting your history if your history is shit. I mean, look at Germany, for example, when you see them bringing that up. At least the team made up for things with their livery, which would have garnered more praise had we not seen it twice already. Definitely the best the team has looked in its 10-year stint in the sport, but the showcase was the definition of trying too hard. Right, who do we have next? Oh, here we go. Hats off to Alpine, whose initiative to get the homeless off the street saw them bring one out to do a DJ set while we all wondered when he would f*** off so we could actually see their actual car. When the A525 did appear, the team were clearly so embarrassed they attempted to keep it hidden under a sheet, and probably for good reason, as when it was finally revealed, we got Gorlock the Destroyer if she identified as a Formula 1 car. Now, I've held this rather controversial opinion for a very long time. BWT can f*** off. All they do is scream about everything being pink, then ruin liveries, and here they've done it again. New shade of blue, love that. It's nice to see a metallic finish, considering the matte shit on the rest of the grid. Change that pink to literally any other colour, and you have a stick livery. Instead, we're forced to watch this for the next year. All in all, it took 7 minutes to actually show us the car, and it doesn't even look that good. Can we just cancel all of France and be done with it at this point? So now we all wanted to pour hydrochloric acid into our eyes. F1 thought this would be a good chance to slot in a thank you message to the FIA. The venue noticed that, however, and rightfully booed it, so even Laura Winter can't hold it together. On the subject of things we don't care about, we got an F1 Academy feature before swiftly moving on to Aston Martin, who seemingly asked an AI model to do their launch for them. It started with a James Bond sequence that looked to be made on a budget of £5 before they introduced me to my new sleep paralysis demon, and then transitioned into orchestra. Did someone just reach into my crack and pull this out? When it was finally time to reveal the car, it looked like we were about to get the exact same as last year. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. Though somehow Aston took this approach and still ruined the damn thing by running out of green paint at the back. Another long, pointless reveal and another ruined livery. This isn't going very well, is it? Maybe Mercedes could bring things back, having had arguably one of the better looks of 2024. This was a new era for the team, one without Lewis Hamilton. Thus the German outfit had the monumental challenge of working out how much black they could strip off their car without coming across as racist. The Brackley outfit would therefore reveal largely the same design, with a little more silver than before, and I can't say I hate this once again. The showcase wasn't bad either, getting straight to the point, and a little different as the team attempted to make the first pit stop of 2025, only they managed to f*** that up. Maybe it was in honour of Bottas returning, who knows. Sometimes less is more, and Mercedes win out here. That's a message that should probably be conveyed to Red Bull, however. The Milton Keynes-based team were next and started proceedings by placing Christian Horner front and centre in the hope that someone might assassinate him. He was instead greeted with boos, rather unsurprisingly, before dedicating this car to... Actually, I don't know what he was talking about here. I genuinely thought he might be having a stroke. The following video appeared to prove otherwise, as Red Bull made an attempt to appeal to mechanics, maybe? People who like cars? I don't know. But after that pointless exercise, the RB21 was rolled out with a posse of hype men behind it, presumably so at least someone was cheering them on when they revealed the same livery for the 10th season in a row. Don't get me wrong, it's a solid livery, but it doesn't beat the glossy balls of the early 2010s, and I'll make that point until they eventually decide to change it. No defending the performance though, get in the fucking bin. With Max Verstappen putting in his 10 milliseconds of screen time, Whitehall stripped off, and that must mean Ferrari are next. We got a small tribute to founder Enzo before the outfit actually did something inventive with what the O2 had to offer. This was actually pretty well done, I have to say, and took us through Ferrari's history before the new car came out, and I'm pretty certain this was on social media a few days ago, so to whoever gaslit me into thinking it was fake, f*** you. It appears Ferrari still haven't quite got the Photoshop skills to remove the blue from the HP logo, and so have instead tried to hide it in their new design, by way of a huge white stripe down the engine cover. I actually don't hate it as much as the rest of the world, though the last time the team went for this look, I don't remember it ending particularly well. We at least got our first appearance of Lewis in Ferrari red, and I do feel bad for those in the lower rows of the arena who were seemingly showered with cum from those above. All in all, one of the better team showcases, and a livery that I think will grow on people over time. One more to go then, the papaya of McLaren. And what would the reigning champions do? Well, they claim to honour their championship-winning cars with this new livery, prompting much excitement. Then they revealed some of their most iconic looks, and then they revealed the exact same thing as last year. What a moment to finish on. It's a nice livery, but to wrap up the night, this was a little on the underwhelming side. Biggest winners here are whoever sits in the McLaren design offices. They're being paid to do f*** all right now. We're almost done. Now it was time for all 10 teams to return to the stage and for one big photo opportunity, which half the arena missed because they left during the Take That performance. Joke's on them. This capped off a sick night from someone who watched it live. Maybe a touch cringy for everyone watching it at home, but this could easily have been far worse. As an initial attempt at this sort of thing, I don't think they could have gone much better. Maybe a public hanging of Mohammed Ben Sulayem, but maybe that's asking a little bit too much. Fair play to Formula 1. Now, can I go for free next time? Let me know your livery rankings down in the comment section below, and what you thought of the event. I'll be back with another comedy review wrapping up the rest of the week's news in a few days' time, so get ready for that. And if you want to see it early, you can become a patron or a channel member. All the relevant links are down in the description below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. And once you're done, f*** off.